Okay, Hare Krishna. Jagannath, Gopal, making your co-host.
Thank you.
Okay. Why is my face so red? It's because I'm into sense enjoyment, I think. Right there.
You're tired from serving Krishna, Prabhu. That's why. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Yeah, I'll do Jai Radha Madhava real quick. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, on this auspicious day of Gundicha Marjanam, let us clean our hearts by reading and reflecting on this great literature, the Amala Puran, the spotless Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are reading from Canto 10, Chapter 64, the story of King Nriga. So we'll be covering verses 26 to 28 today. This is verse 26. Satvam katham mama vibhokshi patha paratma Yogeshwara Shruti Drishamaladh Vibhavyah Sakshad Adhokshaja Uru Vyasanandha Buddhehe Syanme Nudrishya Ihayasya Bhavapavargaha. Translation. O Almighty One, how is it that my eyes see you here before me? You are the Supreme Soul, whom the greatest masters of mystic yoga can meditate upon within their pure hearts, only by employing the spiritual eye of the Vedas. Then how, O Transcendental Lord, are you directly visible to me, since my intelligence has been blinded by the severe tribulations of material life? Only one who has finished his material entanglement in this world should be able to see you. Purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Even in the body of a lizard, King Nriga could remember his previous life. And now that he had the opportunity to see the Lord, he could understand that he had received special mercy from the personality of Godhead. Texts 27 and 28. Devadeva Jagannatha Govinda Purushottama Narayana Rishikesha Punyashloka Chutavyaya Anujanihi Mam Krishna Yantam Devagatim Prabho Yatra Kvapi Satascheto bhuyan me tvat padaspadam. Translation. O Devadeva, Jagannatha, Govinda, Purushottama, Narayana, Rishikesha, Punya Shloka, Achyuta, Avyaya, O Krishna, please permit me to depart for the world of the demigods. Wherever I live, O Master, may my mind always take shelter of your lotus feet. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments on the following as follows on this verse. His faith emboldened upon receiving the Lord's mercy and thus attaining the status of servitude. King Nriga properly glorifies the Lord by chanting his names and then asks the Lord's permission to take his leave. The spirit of his prayer is as follows. You are Deva Deva, God even of the gods, and Jagannatha, the master of the universe. So please be my master. O Govinda, please make me your property with the same merciful glance you use to enchant the cows. You can do this because you are Purushottama, the supreme form of Godhead. O Narayana, since you are the foundation of the living entities, please be my support, even though I am a bad living entity. O Rishikesha, please make my senses your own. O Punya Shloka, now you have become famous as the deliverer of Nriga. O Achyuta, please never be lost to my mind. O Avyaya, you will never diminish in my mind. Thus, the great Bhagavatam commentator Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains the purport of these verses. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I seek blessings from all of you. The two Adis there, Adi Purusha Prabhu and Adi Karta Prabhu, so that we can discuss something that is nourishing to all of us, that is in line with the Guru Parampara. Hare Krishna. So, one of the tendencies that we carry into our Krishna conscious life, which is a residue of a materialistic consciousness that we may have had previously, is to expect that things should go our way. It is a very subtle tendency and it is extremely difficult to detect. And this tendency to expect things to go our way, actually, it shows itself even in our spiritual life, even in our bhakti. Yeah, I'm serving Krishna, I'm chanting my 16 rounds, whatever. So, of course, I should have good health and abundant wealth. I'm serving Krishna, right? I'm serving Krishna. So, of course, I should be respected by others as a sincere devotee. Yes, I know I'm not a pure devotee, I don't expect that kind of treatment, but at least, or everyone should see me as a quote unquote good devotee. I'm serving Krishna. So, of course, all my kids should be geniuses in their studies and they should be scholars of Shastras and they should be pure devotees like Prahlad Maharaj and so on. So the mind tricks us into having such expectations. The mind tricks us into expecting Krishna to reciprocate with us in a certain way that we expect, to for him to reciprocate with us. And even when it comes to adversities, even when it comes to difficult times, we know in theory that there will be adversities. We know that there will be ups and downs in life, right? We know that it will not be a smooth journey. Everyone knows that. But even then, we have a list of adversities that we want to face, a list of adversities that we are comfortable with facing, right? And we want to face those adversities, right? Even the ups and downs, even the downs that we want to face, we sometimes want them to be the way we want, the way we expect, right? But Radhanath Maharaj says in one lecture that if Krishna gave us what we wanted, we would never grow at all. Bhakti is not really about getting, it's about seeking shelter of Krishna. And we only get Krishna when we seek shelter of him, right? And we only get Krishna when we give up hopes of anything else, including the hope and the expectation that things will go my way. So in this way, Krishna often has different plans. We have a list of adversities that we want to face, but Krishna has a different list of adversities that he wants to give to us, right? And we may not be aware of those, that Krishna's list of adversities that he has set for us. So in this way, even in the material and even in the spiritual realm of things, Krishna will baffle our expectations. You know, because he wants us to go deeper. Yes, certain good things are, yeah, there is nice prasad, there is some, devotees talking sweetly and things like that. On an external level, everything is good. The tongue is getting the titillation, the mind is getting some titillation out of the philosophy and everything. But then Krishna wants us to go deeper. Of course, all these things are spiritual. All these things are very important, even essential in bhakti. But then Krishna wants us to go deeper as well. He wants us to go deeper, and he wants us to understand that we are not the center, right? So that's why he may orchestrate things in such a way that our expectations will be, baffled, and we will start really going deeper and deeper and deeper into our contemplation and into our bhakti. So we are seeing this pastime of King Nriga here. And here it appears that King Nriga has been unjustly, caught into a situation when there was no real fault of his. He was a very charitable person. He was giving away a lot of charity to, first class Brahmanas, is what Prabhupada writes in the translation. I mean, the translations say that first class Brahmanas is what, yeah, in Krishna book also Prabhupada writes that he would give a lot of charity. He was a charitable person, right? And but it so happened that once when he was giving out cows in charity to many Brahmanas, one particular Brahmana, he gave out many cows, I don't know, thousands or lakhs of cows. And then one of the cows actually veered away from its path and came back. And then the agents of King Nriga thought that, okay, this cow is also to be given for charity. So they took that cow and gave her in charity to a different Brahmana, to a second Brahmana. And that's where the conflict started. The first Brahmana came and said, "Oh, this cow belongs to me. How come you're giving it to him?" And then the second Brahmana is like, "No, but you have already given it to me. How can I give it back? I can't do that." So such a conflict ensues, and finally, King Driga tried to mitigate the situation. He said, "I'll give both of you thousands of cows. You know, I'll give both of you." He first said to the second Brahmana that, just give this cow back. I'll give you 100,000 more cows. Just take those cows. Give this one cow back. He did not agree. And the first Brahmana, he tells him, I can give you many cows. I can give you 100,000s of cows. Please, forgive me for this. But then the first Brahmana also doesn't agree. And then finally, it so happens that both of them, they go away in anger. They go away from the place in anger, and an offense has been committed. So when he leaves his body, King Nriga goes to Yamaraj, and Yamaraj tells him that he actually hints that you have done such a lot of charity, such a lot of good deeds in your life, pious deeds, punya, that you have, kind of unlimited stay in the heavenly world. So it's destined for you because you have done that much of charity. Of course, the stay in the heavenly worlds is never unlimited, it's never eternal, because once we exhaust that good karma, we have to come back to the earthly planets to generate more karma, right? And so then Yamaraj tells him, you have so much good karma that you can almost forever be in the heavenly planets for a long, long time and enjoy. But you made this small offense, not a small offense. You made this significant offense of displeasing Brahmanas, of usurping their properties. So these Brahmanas, their allegation was that this King Nriga, usurped their property, usurped their cows, and that's why they both it's an offense. So then Yamaraj tells him that because of this offense you have to suffer as well for some time. So what do you choose, he asks King Nriga. And King Nriga thinks, if I have to enjoy, I mean, imagine enjoying a situation for a long time knowing that it is going to end with suffering. Nobody wants that. So King Nriga was also of that mentality. He didn't want that. He didn't want to spend that whatever millions and billions of years in the heavenly planets, knowing that at the end of it, he is going to get punished for the offense that he did to the Brahmanas. And then he chooses to suffer the punishment first, and then he gets, so Yamaraj says, okay, then he comes down to this earthly planet, and he's a lizard in a well in Dwarka. And we know how he's discovered by Samba and other Dwarka Vasis, and they call upon Krishna, and Krishna touches King Nriga, and that the touch of Krishna, the divine touch of Krishna, purifies him, and he leaves that body of a lizard and gets back his heavenly body. So yeah, it might feel unfair that it was not even something that King Nriga did consciously to offend these Brahmanas, but still he's getting this reaction. We might feel it's unfair. But if we see from a spiritual perspective, right, this adversity of getting this punishment is what accelerated his getting darshan of the Lord. So I was hearing quite a bit about adversity by Radhanath Maharaj and Vaishnava. So I wanted to see if we can discuss that today. So in this material world, right, especially when things do not turn out the way we expect them to, the materialistic residue of our consciousness, we face adversity. And adversity is faced by everybody, but our response to that as adversity is what will determine if we get elevated through that adversity or we get degraded through that adversity, right? So there could be multiple responses to adversities. Radhanath Maharaj mentions three responses. The first class response to adversity is to be grateful to Krishna. Oh Krishna, even this adversity is your mercy, right? Very difficult to get at that stage, right? But that's what all pure devotees do, and that's what Lord Brahma also praised, that famous verse that Prabhupada often quoted, tattenu kampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam ridvag vapurbhir vidadhan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadaibhak. The person who, with humility, even through all the adversities, all the reactions of his or her sinful life that is coming upon them right now, even in that situation, even in that adversity, the one who humbly, dedicates their life to Krishna, rid vag vapu. Rid is heart, vag is speech, and vapu is body. One who dedicates their, these three things, heart, body, and words, to Krishna, even through difficult times, liberation becomes their rightful claim. Mukti pade sadaya bhak. So that Lord Brahma is praying to Lord Krishna in the 10th canto, actually. We've already crossed that section. So that is the first class response to adversities. Not just adversities, even the good things that come our way, grateful to Krishna. Even the adversities that come our way, grateful to Krishna that you are giving these adversities to me for my own purification. So thank you, Krishna. Please give me the right consciousness. The second class is to blame Krishna. Blame, Krishna, how could you do this? I'm practicing bhakti so nicely. I'm serving you. I'm, doing so many things. Why are you, how could you be so heartless to put me through this situation? Right? We end up blaming Krishna. And that is one. And even lower than that is we conclude that Krishna does not exist. And the reason we reach this conclusion, we might reach this conclusion is if Krishna would have existed, if God would have existed, God who is the all merciful person, who is looking out for us, if he was really there, if he really existed, then he wouldn't let this happen to me. So in this way, we might conclude that Krishna does not exist. And a lot of atheistic arguments today that we see in the world are around this particular point that, okay, if you say that an all merciful God, an all kind, all generous God exists, then why is there suffering in the world? Is your God so heartless that he allows suffering? And this is so therefore we conclude that God does not exist. This is the atheistic argument. Of course, we'll not get into how to refute that, right? But a small refutation to that would be, God is all generous, God is all merciful, but a part of his love for us, a part of his compassion for us, is that he doesn't interfere in our free will. And that free will, when misused, is what causes all these sufferings. So it's not really God that is giving us suffering, it's the misuse of the free will by the living entities that causes the suffering. And actually, it is the compassion of the Lord that he doesn't interfere with that free will, but he lets us grow organically and come close to him. And as devotees, we may start at the second phase, at on the second step where we blame Krishna. Initially, we might blame Krishna, oh, Krishna, why did this happen to me? But then slowly, by talking to devotees, by talking to senior Vaishnavas, by getting their guidance, we might come to the first stage where we become grateful of Krishna. So often that happens. We might end up blaming Krishna initially, but then we will understand with intelligence and with guidance that, okay, no, it's actually Krishna being merciful to me and giving me the share of my karma so that that gets exhausted and I can come to him. So that famous story where one devotee who served in the kitchen, he happened to cut his finger while chopping vegetables. And he asked Prabhupada, why did Krishna let this happen to me? Prabhupada at that time he had said, actually, you should be grateful because as per your karma, your entire hand was supposed to be cut. But Krishna is so merciful that he gave you a token of your reaction. And just your finger was, there was a cut on your finger. So this way, there are different responses to adversities, right? The topmost of them being that we are grateful to Krishna. And in all the stories of the scriptures, you take Srimad Bhagavatam, you take, even for that matter, um, uh, Bible and other, the scriptures of the Christians and the scriptures of the Islam, everywhere this theme is there of adversity. In extreme adversity, how these great devotees took shelter of the Lord, right? Jesus Christ, my God, that's such an extreme adversity. But even in that adversity, he's praying that, even when he's being crucified, he's praying that, no, Lord, please have compassion on these people. They do not know what they are doing. That is the level of, gratitude that these pure Vaishnavas, pure devotees have. In Bhagavatam, there is Kunti Maharani. Kunti's life, if we look at it as a mother, it was a very difficult life. It was a very, very difficult life. Her, first of all, her, husband was sent away for, exiled into the forest. And then she gets these kids from the sun god, right? I mean, not only from the sun god, she does get the kid from the sun god, but she has to give him away. She has to send him away, Karna, because she's not married yet, right? And then she's living with that secret that although her chastity was not taken away, yet she was afraid that if the world comes to know that she had a child out of wedlock, then people will look down on her and things like that. And And then she did get married. She did get married to Pandu, but then she got exiled with Pandu to the forest. Then she had the five sons, three sons actually, and Madri had two sons, Nakul and Sahadev. But then it so happened that her husband passed away. Her husband and her co-wife passed away, and then now the whole responsibility of bringing up the kids was on her. And then she tried to do that, but then what happened there? The kids were always the object of envy of the Kauravas, and then they, Bhima getting poisoned. They were, the house of lac where the Kauravas tried to burn the Pandavas to death. So many tribulations, so many difficulties, right? Fine. Then they go to exile. Before that, her daughter-in-law gets disrobed, or attempted disrobing of her daughter-in-law. So many adversities. Similarly, Arjuna, right? The whole premise of the Bhagavad Gita is the adversity that Arjuna is facing. He has a conflict of thoughts. How can he kill his kith and kin who are on the other side of the battlefield? Bharat Maharaj, he Bharat Maharaj, he lived the life of a king very nicely, and then he ruled his subjects very nicely in a wonderful way. Then he went and did his sadhana. It is said that he was on the platform of bhava. When he would chant the holy names, tears would come out of his eyes. And in such a situation, he somehow gets attached to that deer and gets the body of a deer in his next life. Great adversity, right? Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu trying to kill him. Dhruv Maharaj, being insulted by his stepmother. And that's every story we can name, every character every great devotee in the Bhagavatam we name. Everybody has gone through tribulations. Everybody has gone through adversity. But then the response that they had for that adversity is very important. Kunti said that, Krishna, please give me more adversity. Again, this is a very, very strong prayer. Please give us more adversity, because when there is adversity, you will come to save us. And because you will come to save us, because we get your darshan, we'll never get rebirth again. Kunti prays. Arjuna is, he goes to Krishna and, he's asking Krishna, Dharma Sammud Cheta, I'm confused about Dharma, please guide me, right? Similarly, Bharat Maharaj, even in that body of a deer, he's trying to associate with these sadhus, right? Just eating dead leaves, dried leaves. Prahlad Maharaj, he's the exemplar of remembrance of the Lord. Even in that whole tribulation of where there are attempts being made on his life, he's, trying to think of the Lord. Dhruv Maharaj, he took shelter of Narad Muni and followed his instructions. So in this way, it is the response of these adversities to response of these devotees to these adversities that made them really come closer to Krishna. And Maharaj says that had it not been for these adversities, it would have taken them millions of lifetimes actually to attain perfection. So even Gajendra, for example, right? Gajendra also, it was an adversity. He didn't even do any offense. He just didn't do anything when Agastya Muni came, and then he got cursed to become an elephant, right? Like that. So what was King Nriga's response to this adversity? He has apparently offended these Brahmanas, but what is his consciousness, right? Even in the body of a lizard, he's actually always trying to think of Krishna, right? So Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book, somehow or other, as a result of his pious activities, King Nriga had aspired to see the Lord. Right? And King Nriga himself prays that, my dear Lord, I had a great desire that someday I might be able to see you personally. Right? So somehow it must have been the case that, in serving all these Brahmanas, King Nriga must have served a Vaishnava Brahmana, and then, getting the mercy of that Vaishnava, he must have developed this desire to see the Lord. And then that desire is being fulfilled by the Lord here in this particular section. And yeah, and that is the qualification, right? And in this 26th verse, King Nriga is wondering, what did he do to get the fortune of getting the darshan of the Lord? And that is what he did. He served Vaishnavas. He had that desire, intense desire to see the Lord, get the darshan of the Lord. And that is what made him get the darshan of the Lord. Lord graced him. So yeah, I'll end with a quote by Radhanath Maharaj. What appears to be a curse is a blessing if we simply appreciate the inner essence of the possibility of how to connect to Krishna in that situation. So I'll repeat this. What appears to be a curse is a blessing if we simply appreciate the inner essence of the possibility of how to connect to Krishna in that situation. So I'll summarize real quickly. So we started with the whole consciousness, the tendency that we carry from our previous lives that things should go our way, right? We expect things to go our way. Then we saw how, the differing responses to adversity, right? Different responses. First one, the topmost one is to be grateful to Krishna. Second is to blame Krishna. Third is to conclude that Krishna does not exist, because if he did, he wouldn't have let this happen to me, right? And often we are on the stage of blaming Krishna initially, but with good guidance, we come to the first stage of being grateful to Krishna. Then we saw a few examples of how great devotees respond to adversity, right? And then we saw King Nriga's response to this adversity as well, right? He's out of humility, he's praying, and all along out of humility, he was yearning for the darshan of the Lord, right? So, and then we ended with that quote of Maharaj. So yeah, thank you very much. I adversities have come. Adversities, it's a law of the material world that adversities do come in everyone's life. They have come in my life as well, but then, and they will come, I know. I just pray that by the mercy of all of you, I can remember Krishna. I can be grateful to Krishna in that adversity. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. There are any questions?
Gopal. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Wake up, everybody. Time for Q&A. Stretch. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, a quick question I'll take the audacity to ask as a host. When somebody comes to us, somebody who's not necessarily on the path of devotion, and they come to us with a problem, with some sort of injustice, is it appropriate for us to kind of bash them with this high mentality of being grateful to Krishna for the adversities, or we should just listen and comfort them? And how do we help people and address their and console them and address their problems if they come to us without coming off-putting and harsh? How to choose the proper platform from which we can deal with people when they come?
Yeah, very nice question. And whatever I have heard, whatever I have experienced till now, uh, is that, yeah, I mean, if we directly pound upon them the philosophy that you should be grateful to Krishna, grateful to God for this adversity, then they might not take it, right? They might not. Advice can be given, but advice has to be given according to receptivity of the recipient, right? So if somebody is not really at that, they are not maybe practicing bhakti, for example, then we can appeal to them on their level, right? And this being grateful to adversity, being grateful to difficulty is not just a construct of spiritual life. It's not just a construct of bhakti. We even say, right, that, famous quote, failures are stepping stones to success. So what that actually indirectly is this, right? Even adversity can act as an impetus for us to go deeper into our life. But then we can definitely comfort them. We have to comfort them. We have to try to find a resolution to that issue, right? That resolution is not always to chant more intensely. That resolution is not always to read. Of course, those are resolutions. Those are the long-term resolutions that will resolve material life itself completely. But then in that, when we are in that situation, we might have to take guidance of the particular subject matter experts, right? Somebody may have to go to a certain person who is expert in that thing, or get a certain specific solution. So like if somebody is sick and they come to me, I remember there was a devotee I used to live with, and that devotee had a headache one day and he was very sick. And then I went to him and I asked, Prabhu, is there anything we can do for you? Right? We used to live with a group of devotees, and this devotee who is suffering this headache, he tells me that, Prabhu, do you know that all this is only in the mind? I'm like, okay, all this is only in the mind. Okay, then don't take medicines, suffer, you know. Of course, I didn't say that to him. I was thinking that. But then, yeah, so another thing I had heard is when somebody comes to us with a problem, or we can guide them on three levels. Okay. One is the immediate level. One is the immediate level in the sense that, hey, if somebody has a headache, they have to take Tylenol. They have to take the immediate solution to mitigate that problem. That is one level. Another level is a more long-term level, is where we might have to tell them on a varnashrama level, on a lifestyle level, that okay, maybe this lifestyle that you're living may not be good for you. So maybe there can be some modifications. And the highest level is on the level of the soul, where you say that, hey, you're not the body, you're the soul. Now, when we have to do which is up to us, and it is a very individualistic thing that we need to decide upon, based on whom we are talking to and things like that. So it's not always that, chant 16 rounds, everything will be okay. Prabhuji, I'm struggling to find a job. Chant 16 rounds, everything will be okay. Prabhuji, my kids don't listen to me, or Prabhuji, my spouse doesn't practice bhakti. No problem. Practice, chant 16 rounds, everything will. No, that is not the way.
But it's true. It's true, Jagannath Gopal, right?
It's true, but to perceive the results of that is not immediate. So along with that, we have to do certain other things. We have to be good with the kids. We have to be good with the family, right? We have to take certain steps. Just by chanting 16 rounds, will I get a job? Maybe, maybe not, but I have to put that effort to get the job. And yes, and then slowly. That is my take on that. Yes, the solution is there. The topmost solution is to take to bhakti and be grateful even in adversity. But that may not be possible for everyone. And they may not be grateful for God for their situation, but yeah, they can start with gratitude in general. So, and then they can bring God into the picture slowly, like that. So I don't know if that
Thank,
answered the
thank
question.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jagannath Gopal.
There are
Thank you.
so many other devotees who have so much experience in care. They can reflect, they can please contribute to this. I am a novice actually. So
Yeah, let's contribute. Please unmute yourself. Adikartha, Adipurusha Prabhu, would you like to chip in and say something?
Of course, it's a very good question. And Prabhu answered it very nicely, that different people are at different levels of understanding and different levels of reception. And there's that saying that if an infant can only digest milk, but we give the infant grains, he doesn't have teeth, he doesn't have a digestive system, and he chokes, that's our fault. So we can't give somebody something they're not ready to assimilate. But we can always pray to Krishna, and Krishna will show us. For this person, give prasad, listen and give sympathy. For this person, and we can inquire from them about whether or not they're willing to hear what Scripture says. That's a really interesting thing. That they're coming to you. You're a devotee. They didn't go to a materialistic person. They're coming to you. They're interested, and we want to see, are you willing to hear what Scripture says, even if you don't follow it, even if you don't believe it. The first step is, well, are you willing to hear? And if they are, then we can tell them, please allow us to tell you what Krishna says about this kind of a situation. And that's very gentle. But we don't want to overwhelm them, like you said. We don't want to beat people over the head with the philosophy. But actually, unless they get to the point of hearing the truth, they're going to remain in darkness. And we are meant to bring about a revolution in the impious life of this world civilization, misdirected civilization. So at one point, we do want to very gently offer them another perspective. They're not that the situation is bad, but their response to the situation is the problem. Anyway, very interesting question, and I think we've addressed.
Okay. Oh, you finished?
Arctic wants to say something.
No, I was
A
just
little
saying-
closer, Adikarta Prabhu, a little closer. We can barely hear what Adi Purusha Prabhu was saying.
Okay. Well, first of all, sorry I was falling asleep in the class like yesterday. Sorry. I went to bed late, but I had to get up. So, I mean, I think you gave a very good class, and you're obviously very intelligent, and you know, different medicine for different people, but on the whole, devotees need to be sympathetic. Sympathetic is the main overriding principle, and you know, life is complicated, and this world is a very difficult place, and sometimes we don't even find solutions to people's problems, and we just have to pray for people if you can't find a solution, because a lot of people, they have problems that are very difficult to solve, and you can't really give them advice of what to do, because there's nothing you can do, because Krishna puts us into very difficult situations, and some or other we have to, you know, pray for people and empathize with people, and give them our association. And
Jai Shishi Radha Murlidhar Shigura Chandra Ki Jai. Jagannath Gopal Prabhu Ki Jai. Thank you. Wonderful class.
Shri Radha Murida Gaur Chanjana Sinu Bhagavana Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Guru
Welcome to the Afterglow, everybody. Leela and Bhima have their hands up. Rangalila, you go first. We like your hair.
So how do we like stay positive through, or like how do we keep our faith like strong when when you face life struggles?
Wow, what a question. Let's see what Jagannath Gopal has to say.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a very tough question. How to keep our faith steady in adversity? Yeah, one thing is if we focus too much on the adversity, if that becomes the only thing in our life, if that becomes the center of our life, then definitely that is going to shake our faith. That is going to affect us. That is going to push us deeper into that feeling of being depressed or in that difficult situation. So definitely first thing we can do is try to look at the positives in life, because there are some positives, there will be some positives in life. And if we are grateful to those positives in life, we open our hearts to something more positive. And then that is definitely one thing. In whatever difficulty we are in, we can try to see the positives that are there and be grateful for those positives. The other thing I would say is seek guidance of people who are mature, who have gone through this kind of a situation. And it's not accurate. It's definitely not accurate to say that I have an issue, I have a problem that nothing can solve it, or or to say that or to put it in another way, there is no problem big enough for Krishna to solve. I guess that's a better way to put it. There is no problem big enough for Krishna not to be able to solve, right? So in that way we can, and to have this consciousness, it's difficult because in that situation of adversity, we are too caught up in that adversity. So we need someone to pull us out and to prod us to look into the bigger picture. So that's where the connection to devotees becomes very vital, extremely vital. If we try to analyze the situation on our own, then we'll, as I said, we'll just go deeper and deeper into that abyss of sadness. But yeah, it's these two things: looking at the positives, being grateful, and trying to seek good association, which can uplift us from that situation. Hope that's fine.
Thank you. When I'm in trouble, please, Bhima Prabhu, come and slap me on the cheek. Tell me I'm not the body. Tell me not to drown in that misery. I need that. Promise? Bhima
That's
Prabhu,
your
promise?
wife's responsibility, Prabhu.
All right. All right, maybe I'll do some yaga and have you as my wife next life. Who knows?
Oh, jeez.
I'll perform severe austerities.
I've been cursed. You're cursing me, bro. Oh my God. Well, as long as you want to live, bro. I'll cook scones for you. I'd like to respond to Garangalila. Am I breaking up or can I
Will you
be
shave
heard?
your beard for me?
Not for
Will you
you. I will be a
Okay.
bearded lady for you, Prabhu.
All right, see you next live. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Garanga Leela. Let's move on. Please let us move on. Garanga Leela. Amazingly enough, I'm 63 years old. Obviously, like anybody else at this age, we've gone through many ups and downs. There's many hills. I'm over the hill, so to speak. And this is what life is. It's ups and downs. We see it in Shastra. We see it with the Pandavas, as Prabhu, as Jagannath Gopal was saying, that the Pandavas had suffered so much. Queen Kunti suffered so much, and yet they always reached out to Krishna. That was their only solace. They always reached out to Krishna. Draupadi, when she was being disrobed, which in that day was a fate worse than death, she tried to reach out elsewhere. She even tried to help herself. But in the end, the only thing that helped her was to reach out and to call out for Krishna. So I have found, amazingly enough, despite my age, that it's amazing you should ask that, because I have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of business, a lot of things that are dependent upon me to keep going and to keep afloat and to maintain. And of course, there's always that initial anxiety in the morning. Have I done enough? What happens if this happens? What happens if that anxiety that we induce on ourselves, that worry, that fear? And then I immediately just pray to Krishna. It's in your hands. It's in your hands, Krishna. It's really a leap. You're literally leaping into Krishna's arms when you do that, because there is no doubt that you will face in your lifetime many ups and downs, many challenges, and hopefully not, but you will become aware of many tragedies. And you literally, all you have to do is, you see that picture behind Jeffrey Akla there, Krishna and Radharani on the swing. Do you see that? All you have to do literally is to find that picture and pray to Krishna and Radharani.
What about Jeffrey?
Please hold on. What is wrong with you? See, this is a challenge I can't get past. This is Ananda Bihari. Yeah. So, yeah, and Jeffrey Ackler, yeah, because devotees, you go to them, as Jagannath Gopal said, reach out to someone whom you trust, who has empathy. Jagannath Gopal said we have to have sympathy, but he also said within that we have to have empathy. And this is for the rest of us. When we hear somebody like Garanga Leela ask a question like this, they say that a truth from the mouth of babes, the youth, from the mouth of the youth comes the truth, and she asks, her question is very pertinent to all of us, because when you get to be an adult, Garanga Leela, that question faces us every morning when we open our eyes. What's going to happen today? Will I be able to face it? And we're so lucky as devotees that we can, like children, run to Krishna and say, Father, Krishna, will you please help me through this? Your will be done. This is in your hands. You take care. I will simply remember you. Remember the cowherd boys when they faced all the demons in Krishna book. They simply called out to Krishna. When there was a fire, they called out to Krishna. when there was Trinavarta, they called out to Krishna when there was the big snake demon, the one with the mouth as big as a cave. Who was that?
Asura.
Agasura, right? Yes. And what did the cowherd boys do when they saw, even though they kind of knew it was a snake, what did they do?
They marched right in.
Before, they marched right in and said, Krishna will save us. So we shouldn't test Krishna, but literally in this world, especially in Kali Yuga, literally every day is Agashura. We are faced with the great maw of Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga is going to swallow us right up. But if we just dance right on in with our hands in the air like we just don't care, and realize that Krishna is going to come in, he's going to expand. And as they say, I can't remember the Shastra that it says, if Krishna is for you, this is a very easy thing to remember. And even as adults, this is the thing that keeps me going. If Krishna is for, then no one's going to stop you. And if Krishna doesn't want it to happen, or he doesn't want you doing what you're doing, well, then you're not going to get very far, because Krishna is going to put a stop to it. So always remember that Krishna is in complete control and you won't have to worry about a thing. Thank you for asking that wonderful question. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, beautiful. Okay, Bhagya has her hand up. And Baba,
yeah.
Baba, you're next, okay? Go ahead, Bhagya.
I put mine in the chat earlier, but
Why only the names of Vishnu and no one else
yeah.
to, as mentioned in verses 27, 28, for example, the names of Shiva? Is it because Vishnu is the supreme personality of Godhead? I mean, yeah, contextually, Krishna is being addressed here.
Yeah.
Is one reason, but that is not to say that chanting the names of Shiva is wrong or anything like that. Somebody who is a genuine upasaka of Lord Shiva, somebody who is a genuine worshipper of Lord Shiva, can definitely chant the names of Lord Shiva. And yes, of course, Vishnu is also the supreme personality of Godhead. That is the declaration of the Shastras. And yeah, chanting Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Iva Kevalam, right? Chanting Hari's name is what will deliver us in Kali Yuga. So that is the prescribed medicine for the age of Kali. Chanting the holy Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhagya. Thank you, Jagannath Gopal. Baba Prabhu, you ready?
I was going to say that I personally struggle sometimes. I give it up to Krishna constantly. I was doing it before, but then I found out I had cancer and I did it even more. And then I got crushed in a car and I did it even more. And now I'm living with like chronic pain on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes it's even hard to move because my spine's all out of whack and everything like that. And so, but like my big want and, well, the only thing that actually brings me any kind of solace is I, for a long time, felt I was not in the right place. Even though I was a nurse and helping people, I felt that the rat race wasn't for me. And I used to pray for some way of being out of the rat race, but I didn't think it'd be this way, and it's a struggle to stay grateful. But my land, I have just a third of an acre, but in the area that I live in, I want to make it a beautiful piece of land for God and people to see. And I want to be able to like donate herbs to people and all this stuff. So I'm tying it back to the land or trying to I pray that Krishna gives me the strength to work my land. So, I don't know. That's the only way that I seem to get through it. And coming here, my wife tells me that every time I have Sangha with you folks in the morning, like it's just, I'm a different person for the rest of the day. So I want to say thank you for that. But there are some days where I don't feel I can make it because I just feel so crummy, and I don't want to be negative around anybody. So, and then I withdraw. And those are the times that you folks are, that the class is saying you withdraw and you maybe go into a place that you don't need to be. So I struggle with that. So I disappear. You know what I mean? So any advice on how to not do that, not to withdraw into myself and disappear? That's what I'm really looking to see.
Thank you, Bhava Prabhu. Thank you very much. Dear devotees, please comment. Jagannath Gopal, would you like to comment on what Bhava Prabhu shared so vulnerably and so intimately? Thank you, Bhava Prabhu, for that.
Thank you, really. And yeah, it takes a lot of strength to share that, Prabhu. So yeah, I'm very grateful that you did. I would say getting into negativity is not the problem, but we can always try to come back. It's not wrong to I guess the term that you mentioned, to just get into that negative zone, is not wrong per se. But the more important than that is, how do we try to come back? How do we try to get back into the phase of positivity, into the shelter of Krishna, into the shelter of devotees? Yeah, that is all I'll say. And yeah, the situation is particularly very difficult, definitely. And I myself feel very ill-equipped to kind of answer that. But at least I would say this much, that it's not necessarily wrong to feel that way. So, but at the same time, we can think about how can we come back? How can we come back onto the path of grace? So, and by doing that, we'll get into a practice at some point, and then plus Krishna will see our effort, and Krishna will bless that. Okay, yes, Krishna will bless you to transcend that state of pain as well. So these are just my simple thoughts. If anybody else, we have Madan Gopal Prabhu here as well. So
yeah, Madan Gopal Prabhu, are you available to speak?
Haribol, well, I have a whole crowd over here. Coming, Venetia.
Is that Venetia?
That's Venetia and Prashant.
Prashant, Hare Krishna Prabhus.
So we're
Where
all
are you
together.
driving them?
We're going to see Satsarup Maharaj in his ashram.
Wow.
He has his July program today. So, reflecting on, I was reflecting on Bhima Prabhu's, Krishna has a plan for us, or if Krishna wants to do something for us, no one can stop him. And if he doesn't want this to happen, no one can make it happen. It's a fact. So we're just thinking of how that's a fact, but also how Krishna's hand in our lives. We're reflecting on that right now. That even the things that we couldn't have possibly imagined as solutions to our problems, Krishna arranges them, and it turns out, wow, even I couldn't have thought of this solution, even if I sat for years trying to figure it out. So we can see Krishna's hand in our lives, kind of moving us and also guiding our apparent random wanderings. He actually says that, Brahmayam Sarvabhutani. I'm sitting in the heart, I guide their wanderings. Wandering means apparently random movements, because he's guiding it, it's not random. And he uses words very precisely. Brahmayan means random wandering. So there's no randomness in this world. It's just apparently random. So, but if you're fortunate and Krishna is guiding us for our upliftment, then that's where we luck out. Just wanted to share that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madan Gopal Prabhu. A wonderful, hope-giving contribution. Thank you for that.
Haribol, can I respond to Baba's message?
Go ahead, Deva Prabhu.
The Prabhupada said that we can use everything in Krishna's service. And one of the most important things that we can use is that self-same ability to go within oneself, to isolate oneself. There's nothing wrong with isolating oneself, because that's your chance to spend intimate time with Krishna. If we notice Prahlad, Dhruva, the Pandavas, Draupadi, Haridas Thakur, beaten in 32 marketplaces, Christ himself. Krishna didn't hold back the pain from any of them And by the way they handled it through prayer, supplication, acceptance, easy for me to say, I'm not suffering what you're doing, but this is what I see, that in Shastra and around me for those people whom I am in awe and veneration of, including yourself, Bava, because here you are and you're going through this, what you mentioned. I just sat there just saying, oh my God, I have, I've yet to face this, and I'm going to face this, and the that chance for you to just throw away the world, because ultimately we have to all become a kinchana, and nobody knows what it is to have nothing more than someone who is in such extreme pain or discomfiture within this world and within this body. That's, easy for me to say once again, but as Jagannath Gopal mentioned, that this is your chance. Krishna's giving you a chance to handle it in that intimate first-class way, which is, Krishna, thank you for this, because in this, as Kunti said, this calamity in which you have truly suffered, this calamity, these calamities has made my mind run to you, has turned me to you, and you alone, not into, how can we run to the pleasure of the senses when something like that happens to ourselves? How can we take lightly our lives, our time? How can we become distracted by the trivialities of this world when our body itself is letting us down? So I think that, what you have said is so very important, and that you shouldn't worry about isolating yourself and turning inside yourself, because that's, from what I've read in the Gita, that's where Krishna resides, in our heart. And if you're 100% not paying attention to what's going on outside you, but introspecting and contemplating what's going on inside you, then that's such a treasure. It's actually a treasure. So, anyways, that's how I fearfully present this. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, we can experience pain without Krishna, and it will be just pain. But pain with Krishna will be uplifting and purifying source of self-realization. I saw Anandi. Anandi, you still here? No, Anandi left. She had a question. Bhava Prabhu, you want to respond?
I just wanted to express my profound thanks to Bhima for his kind words. And if it is possible at all, I would love next class tomorrow. Maybe if Bhima would be open to exchanging information with me. I would love that. Just so that way I could hear some of his words maybe outside of this, especially about farming, because I want to turn my piece of property into like a mini Krishna farm here. And that's my goal. So that's all I wanted to say is thank you so much.
I would be happy to, Baba. Just drop
send
me.
Send Baba your phone number and your social security number. Put that in the chat.
I don't have one. I'm an alien.
Right. Jeffrey Eckler, Prabhu, you had your hand up.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I was just going to say, to Bava's question about, kind of guidance there. Thank you. Ultimately, the nectar of devotion calls Vaishnavas to share their hearts, but also to listen to others when they share theirs. And so to a certain extent, what Baba has shared here is deepening all of our bhakti. and giving us insight into what it is kind of like to be in another a body by sharing that truth, and enlivening us to move towards compassion, and that process in and of itself is evidence of God. So thank you for sharing and allowing us to hear that and listen, because that is bhakti right there. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey. Wonderful point. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, final instructions for us, please.
Instructions, just bless me, pray for me, and I'll do the same for all of you.
Yeah, cool. Okay, let's all bless Jagannath Gopal Prabhu for many, many wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam classes. Wonderful answers. Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks to everyone for participating, for being so intimate, so vulnerable, so uplifting, for sharing your experiences with us, helping us on our path. Thank you. Good to see you, Das Prabhu. Good to see you, Sundaranandaji. Gauranga, where are you? Are you in your little camper? Yeah, good, nice. Camping for Krishna. Stephanie, Bhagya, thanks Adi Purusha Prabhu, of course. Bhavana, Krishna Gauda, Yogeshwari, Danakeli Prabhu, thank you so much. We love you, we need you. Have a wonderful day. Come again tomorrow for another day in Lord Chaitanya's movement. All right? Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.
You're amazing.
Thank you, Gauranga. I'm a fool.
No, you're not.
Okay.
He's an amazing fool.
Yeah, I'm an amazing fool. We can settle it there. Okay, Hare Krishna.